My name is Elara, and this story began on an ordinary afternoon. The kind of afternoon when nothing special is supposed to happen. The bus was almost empty that day. The sky was gray. It looked like it might rain, but it was still holding back, like a person who wants to cry but does not want anyone to see. I sat by the window, listening to the quiet noise of the engine, watching the town slowly pass by. That was when I saw it, a single white envelope, lying on the faded blue bus seat across from me. There was nothing written on the front, no name, no address, just an envelope, slightly wrinkled, like it had been held too tightly for too long. At first I thought someone would come running back for it. I waited one stop, then two, three. Nobody came. The bus driver looked tired. The world looked tired, and there, beside me, this little letter sat like a secret that had lost its owner. I picked it up softly. It light, but it felt heavy. I do not know how to explain that feeling, as if paper could carry weight, not in grams, but in feelings. My fingers shook a little, not because of fear, but because sometimes our heart knows before our mind does. It knows when something matters. On the back of the envelope, very small, almost shy handwriting said only one word: Mama. I took a slow breath. A letter to a mother. I held it for a long moment. Then I slid my finger gently under the flap and opened it. Not fully, not rudely, just enough to pull out the folded paper inside. The first line made me stop breathing for a second. I'm sorry I never told you this when you were here. I read that line again and again. I could almost hear the voice behind it, a shaking voice, a voice trying to be brave. The bus moved forward, but my world felt still. I began to read. The handwriting was simple, not childish, not fancy, just real. The kind of writing people use when they are not thinking about letters, only feelings. The writer spoke to their mother directly. They wrote about small things first, the way we always do when we are afraid to walk straight into pain. They thanked her for teaching them how to tie shoelaces. They remembered the smell of her cooking. They spoke about how she used to hum while cleaning. They wrote, "You always said I never talk much, but the truth is, I never learned how to speak when my heart hurts." My eyes felt warm. I kept reading. They said they had grown up, but the child inside them never stopped trying to win her approval. They wrote about school, the friends they lost, the mistakes they made. They admitted to shouting at her once, when they were younger, and how that one shout still echoed inside them after all these years. Then the letter grew heavier. The words slowed down. There were pauses in the sentences, like someone wiping tears between each line. Mama, I have to tell you something now, because I could not say it when you were here with me. I did not want you to worry. I did not want you to look at me with pain in your eyes. I could almost see the mother's eyes. Worried, full of love that maybe never found full expression in words. The secret came slowly. The writer had been sick, not on the outside, but on the inside, in their heart and mind. They spoke about nights when breathing felt hard, even though there was nothing wrong with their lungs. They talked about feeling like a burden, feeling like they were disappointing everyone, even when no one had said so. I kept saying I was fine. You kept asking if something was wrong. You always knew. Mothers always know. That line stayed with me. Mothers always know, even when we hide, even when we laugh, even when we say everything is okay. The writer confessed that they had made choices out of fear. They had left people. They had broken promises, not because they did not care, but because sometimes people who hurt inside run away before anyone can run from them. And then came the part that made my heart pause. The day you left this world, Mama, I wanted to scream and tell you everything. I wanted to tell you I was not as strong as you thought. I wanted to tell you I was scared of life, of myself, of failing you. But instead I stood there, quiet, like always. I only said, I'm okay. A simple sentence, I'm okay. Two words that often mean the opposite. I could imagine them standing beside a hospital bed or a silent room, trying to hold themselves upright while their world broke. The letter continued. They said they had been living since then, not happily, not perfectly, just living. They spoke of days where sunlight felt heavy, of nights where they wished they could hear her voice one more time say, "It will be all right." They wrote, I kept one part of me hidden from you, Mama. I was afraid you would worry. I was afraid you would blame yourself. But the truth is, you were my safe place. You were the only one I wanted to tell. The secret finally came out gently, without drama, without loudness. They had doubted themselves their whole life. They had carried deep sadness they never explained. They had lived feeling like they were never enough, even though their mother always said they were. They ended the letter with words that felt like soft rain. Please forgive me for the silence. Please forgive me for the walls I built. You loved me more than I could ever understand, and I wish I had said this while you could still hold my hand. I miss you every day. I am trying to live in a way that would make you smile. There was no name, just child. I sat there quietly, holding the letter very carefully, like it was something fragile that could break if touched too hard. The bus had reached the last stop. The driver called out to me, "Madam, last stop," but his voice felt very far away. I looked again at the envelope. Mama. I thought of all the children who never said what they wanted to say. I thought of all the mothers who left this world, never hearing the words their children hid inside their hearts. Then I thought of my own life, of the people I lost, of words I kept quiet because I was afraid, of times I wanted to say stay but instead said take care. The letter sat on my lap like a small white truth. Now I had a choice. I could find the person it belonged to. I could search buses, ask drivers, speak to conductors, go from house to house, street to street, calling out for someone who wrote a letter they had never sent. Or I could keep it as it was, a private conversation between a child and their mother that had simply rested beside me for a short moment. I closed my eyes. I imagined the writer, maybe young, maybe were old, maybe they were sitting somewhere right now, thinking they lost the letter forever. But the words were already spoken once. Written words do not disappear. They live on, inside the person who wrote them, and sometimes inside those who read them. I stood up slowly. The bus was empty now. I walked toward the window seat where I had found the letter. I placed it gently back on the fabric, smoothing the wrinkles like one might smooth a child's hair. I whispered very softly to no one and to everyone, "Your mother already knows," because I believe that. I truly do. Love does not end at goodbyes. Mothers carry our unsaid words somewhere beyond our reach, yet close to our hearts. The driver looked confused. "You forgot something?" I smiled. "No," I said. "It was never mine." I stepped off the bus. The sky finally let go and it began to rain. Not hard, not wild, just a soft, steady rain that felt like the world taking a deep breath. As I walked home under that quiet rain, I did not feel sad. I felt grateful. Grateful that I had held that letter. Grateful that I had heard a heart speak, even if I never knew whose heart it was. Grateful to be reminded of something we all forget too easily. Say what matters. Say it while people are still here. Say, "I love you." Say, "I am scared." Say, "I need you." Say, "I am sorry." Do not wait for some perfect day. There is no perfect day. There is only today. That evening, in my small tea shop, I lit a candle, not for mourning, for memory, for all the letters never sent, for all the words never spoken, for all the children still carrying storms inside them, and maybe for the writer of that letter, wherever they were. I hope they are healing. I hope they are learning to speak gently to themselves. I hope they know their mother's love did not disappear with her last breath. Before I went to bed that night, I looked up at the sky and whispered one more sentence, as if sending it to all mothers in the world. They love you. Even when they cannot say it, they love you. And somewhere in some unseen way, I felt the world whisper back, "We know."